Taking a big step forward now thanks to a partnership with the Door County Maritime Museum. The Patriot Racing Project was formed 3 years ago by a veteran from De Pere. The goal, to connect veterans to the teamwork and purpose they had while serving by learning to sail, race, and restore classic boats. The flagship for the project right here, the Sharna, now resides at the museum after being restored with the help of veterans. Their next mission, restoring this nearly 90-year-old sailboat that was donated to the museum 25 years ago. Time for a 4:30 field trip. We welcome you inside the Door County Maritime Museum. This is our new storage facility, and we're alongside Jack Gage. He is the founder and president of the Patriot Racing Project. And behind us is the next part of your project. So before we get into all the things about how you created the project, why is this boat, the Escape, important to you guys?
Well, it's important to us because as a veterans organization that brings veterans together in team working, team building, and peer support, it's important that we bring veterans into a team building environment. And particularly with this being a restoration project, it's a skill building trade and also something that veterans can be proud to put their stamp, put their mark on, and help out with the restoration of this local piece of history.
All right, it's not the first boat that you folks have worked on in your 3 years, but you got some work to do here. 1938, this was built in this area, wasn't it?
Actually, it was by Peterson Shipbuilders.
Okay. So we also saw the Sharna, which is outside the Door County Maritime Museum, and that you told me that's the flagship of your fleet.
It is.
Why?
Well, it's important to us because the boat in itself is made out of welded steel that was actually used in the process of making submarines in World War II. When the war ended, the steel was left over. The man who built her used that material, so she is
in Manitowoc, right?
In and around Manitowoc. Yep. I think Chilton was the official town that he built it in. But so she's made out of warship steel. Every single person that owned and sailed the boat from the 1950s when she was completed to 2000, they were all veterans. So the boat has a lasting legacy of veterans getting together and making peace after conflict, sailing together, confiding in each other, working as a team. She is literally the embodiment of that and what our program values are.
Leads me right into the question. Why did you start this? Where did the idea come from?
Well, it started because after I got done with my service, spent 5.5 years in the Marines and also 2 years in law enforcement, I moved back here to Wisconsin where I was born and raised, and you find yourself just missing something afterwards. A lot of veterans can attest to this as well. I actually picked up a job working security locally. Tri-Bolt Security was named. They're primarily veterans.
Okay.
And I noticed when I was just working some part-time that you'd see these veterans that were like, they say, they did 20 years in the Navy back in the 1980s, and they're talking to some youngster who just got back from Afghanistan or Iraq or something of that nature, and they speak the same language and they have the same jokes, and it's as if as if there's no age gap or anything like that. They're the same kindred spirits, and I thought, you know, there's something to this. And having been a boater my whole life and loving boating on the Great Lakes and over in the oceans as well, I figured, you know what, there's an element here. We can combine sailing and team working, bring veterans together with sailing as a medium to bring them together.
So how did you get the word out, and how do you still get the word out? You've told me you've about 30 or 40 veterans that you have worked with now in 3 years that you've been around. Obviously, you'd like that to grow. So how do you get the word out, and how do people get involved if they are a veteran when they see this?
Well, we're just starting to really break out into the world now as being a lot more known. As you mentioned, the Sharna, our flagship, is docked with the Maritime Museum. So she is a very public symbol, and we do have signage that annotates that she's part of the Patriot Racing Project. We also work with the Brown County Veteran Service Office. I have a very good friend who works there. So we're starting to really break out into the world and let the local veteran community know that this is a resource that is available to them.
How do the veterans let you know that what you're doing is helping them? What's some of the feedback that says you're on the right track?
Well, the fact that they keep coming back, and also like they give me a call with new ideas, said, hey, you know, maybe we should go sailing on Lake Winnebago or something, or hey, we got this next project coming up, or it's not that they say deliberately like, oh, this made my life better. They just continue to be involved and talk with me back and forth about ideas that they have.
Is there some symbolism involved here in bringing something like this back to life and bringing veterans back to community? that they are accustomed to?
There is some symbolism in this. I've actually made an equivalency before that particularly our program focuses on classic style vessels, sailing and restoring and operating them. The reason for that is, like I mentioned before, that boats of this nature require a lot of hands to utilize them, so there means that everybody on the crew or all the veterans involved have a purpose. Everybody has a job to do. But I've made the equivalency in the past that these old vessels are almost in their way like a military uniform. Every single aspect of it has a traditional value, has a reason for being there, and the attention to detail that's necessary amongst these veterans, that's, say, maintaining their uniform, shining their buttons, shining their shoes. All these things are just as important on these vessels, because you can see if you don't maintain the details, they start to fade. So the veterans feel really strongly about those traditional values and those tradition imagery. It's something that they have ingrained in them to maintain.
All right, let's take some imagery here from your mind's eye. You said you're really starting to become more public facing now. Where does this go? Where would you like to see it go? 5 years from now, 10 years from now? What do you think Patriot Racing Project is going to look like?
I would love this project to be something that is kind of like a concrete facet of the local community up here in Northeast Wisconsin and potentially other locations. I've even discussed with Kevin Osgood, president of the Maritime Museum here, about using vessels like this that we restore in partnership with the museum to be sailing ambassadors. So, like, say, for example, we'd start expanding out a little bit more, going to other locations on the Great Lakes and bringing our services to further veterans. Working on a project like this would also be sort of a return to service, because after we, say, complete this project, and also by completing like the vessel like the Sharna and whatnot, is that it's not just for them. These are now pieces of the local community. So the veterans that serve in this project, rebuilding these boats, they are also in a way serving the community, because these things now go back into the community. This won't be our boat, it'll be the museum's boat also.
And important to note too that some of these vessels, maybe not this one, but you have one in Green Bay and the Sharna itself, perhaps more. These are not just for display. These will be racing, and veterans will be on these boats racing them?
Exactly, yep. That's a major team building sport, is sailboat racing. Everybody needs to be in coordinated efforts. So that is a large facet, and also that's how we got the name of the program. Sure. I call it Patriot Racing Project. So we will be participating in local club racing, like the Windjammers Club, the Egg Harbor Yacht Club, the Sturgeon Bay Yacht Club, things of that nature. And also sometime in the future, when all the boats are in a good workable state, racing each other. So.
Well, Jack, thanks so much for taking the time, and good luck with this. This is a very cool project.
Well, thank you so much.